Hello everybody, welcome back. Let's have a look at Bitcoin, but more than that, we're going to try and work out, what this means for the altcoin situation, because a lot of us prefer, playing the altcoin market. It's more fun. It's like stocks for kids. It's way more fun. But when something like this happens, it does bring back memories of essentially what took place, during this big bull run here, really, which is how alts, just were completely crushed with their dollar value. And I suppose there's an element of concern amongst members of my Telegram chat and reservations of my own as well, that might happen again. So what's happened here, obviously, is Tesla bought up $1.5 billion worth of Bitcoin. And as a result, broke us, through up to a new all-time high, right? This also had a pretty dramatic impact on the Bitcoin dominance chart. So last week, around Friday, when we saw this trend line here, I made a video saying, this could be the end of alt season. And to an extent, that is true. Now, obviously, this is, well, I wouldn't call it a black swan event, but it's one of those things that can't be accounted for, a fundamental breakthrough. But, as we see, the Bitcoin dominance chart is rising, but technically, is this bad for altcoins in general? Is this going to end up being similar to this situation that we saw here, where basically alts were demolished when it comes to their dollar value? So, I mean, it's something that we're going to have to keep an eye on, all right? And last week, on the live stream, I did say that this would be an area to hedge back into Bitcoin, so you can play both sides of the fence. You can basically limit your risk exposure, get yourself into a bit more Bitcoin than you were previously. And it's not because I was expecting anything significant, but when we look at the trend line all the way back to where it started, it has performed, bounces from here, obviously those two there, but then back last year we tapped it here, and we more or less tapped it here, so it stood to reason that we would form a bounce here, and all that meant would be, if, let's just say, the market dumped, then your money would decrease at a lesser rate if it were in Bitcoin. If the market pumped, because Bitcoin was pumping, or Bitcoin's dominance started to gain, then you're in a safer asset, which would potentially earn you more anyway. So it was kind of a win-win. Even if one of those scenarios ended up in a dump, it would mean that you would dump less in Bitcoin. So it was the smart thing to do, was to, I suppose, not go all in Bitcoin here, because if this were to break down, for instance, it would be amazing for altcoins. We'd still like to see that. It might still happen, we just don't know. I mean, it will happen one day. I mean, eventually this trend line will go up to 100, so it will break down from there one day. But anyway, what I'm really talking about is that, are we going to end up having alts dump as a result of Bitcoin dominance increasing? Well, this fundamental breakthrough with Tesla, from the way I've broken it down, the way I've summarized it in my mind, is that, it's an endorsement of Bitcoin, but it's also, I think it's also an endorsement of the entire cryptocurrency market, right? So Bitcoin being, the one, the currency, the one to have, the number one. But it's also showing that, Elon Musk, Mr. Tesla, has given, and he's been pretty prevalent, with his, doji text, like tweets and stuff like that, but he's not against crypto. I wouldn't say he's a massive believer in it, but he clearly must believe in the value of Bitcoin for him to buy such a large amount at such a high price. I mean, we were looking at this only a couple of weeks ago, Bitcoin's value, looking at it and going, wondering if we were going to break down towards 20,000. That's how the chart, we were on thin ice. We were looking at it going, this could possibly happen. I mean, only a few days ago we kind of turned a corner when we got this itchy cloud conversion baseline cross, and we said, actually it kind of looks okay now. But it wasn't that long ago where we were considering, are we looking for incremental dumps back down to these levels? That's why we've got them on the chart here, just in case, that could have happened, that was on the cards. So for him to buy them at this value shows that he's, I'm not saying he's a believer in cryptocurrency, but he certainly believes in the value of Bitcoin, that it's likely to increase over time. Otherwise, he wouldn't be buying it at that level. That's a phenomenal amount that he's bought at a relatively high price, close to the all-time high of this cycle's all-time high, which is high. It's a high price. So that basically got me thinking that if he's willing to take it seriously in public, saying that this is how much I've bought at this price, then it might end up transferring into a wider adoption process of blockchain in the first place. Now, blockchain is what it is. I'm not, a developer or anything like that. I trade charts, but I like the way that it's shaping up as an industry at this point. There's plenty of coins out there which basically aren't anything. I've just minted one myself that I'll be giving out to Patreon users, for 3 months worth of subscription. I'll be handing out my own token. I created my own cryptocurrency. I don't think that's going to be going to the moon anytime soon. It's more of just a novelty. So there's plenty of tokens out there that are basically worthless, mine included, but there's plenty out there that have that serve a good purpose. Do you know what I mean? I mean, they're monetized, and sometimes you wonder, is there any point to monetizing these blockchains? But I suppose there is. But do these utility tokens, do they warrant having value or not? Well, it all depends on the utilization and the adoption process. This is a significant leap in the form of adoption, and it's with Bitcoin, which is really, in my opinion, one of the only tokens out there that really doesn't have a use case. You know what I mean? If that makes sense. It doesn't actually have a use case. Its use case is, I suppose, it's proven at the moment to be a store of value. And I don't like saying those sort of things because I don't want to sound like one of those moon boys that treats Bitcoin like a religion. I'm far from that. Right? It's a mechanism for me to make some money. That's really all it is to me. I like the concept of it. You can't dispute the concept of it. It's pretty awesome. But I'm not one of those people that would get it tattooed on my back or name my third daughter it or something like that. Do you know what I mean? But I mean it's like a royal seal of approval that's just been given now. So if Bitcoin can get that. And also, we've just got to remember that just today, CME Futures listed Ethereum, and Ethereum again, another one of those blockchains, one of those tokens that, I mean, it's good for what it is, but it's not in any way near the best, is it? I mean, it's slow, it's expensive, it's not the best. Do you know what I mean? So in that respect, right, we're at the early days of what would appear to be actual genuine adoption. All right. And so a lot of us, from what I understand, believe or recognise, should I say, there is a 4-year cycle that takes place with Bitcoin, right? The 4-year cycle, 3 years up, 1 year down, 3 years up, 1 year down, 3 years up, to which we are in the 3rd year of that up. And we're all expecting a 4th year down. That might be out the window now. We might be having an extended bull market if this adoption really picks up pace. And if it does pick up pace, it's going to be good for, well, it's not going to be good for everyone. It's not going to be good for my cryptocurrency, I don't think. Even though mine does have a use case, it's not really going to have a value. So this isn't going to be the same across the board. I think this is where we start to work out what coin actually has value and what coin deserves its value. Is it going to be used? And if it serves a purpose, then it should be used. Blockchain is definitely a decent technology, and the more people that gain trust in it, the more it will be utilised. And I think it would serve the world well to use blockchain in lots of areas, and not in every area, but in lots of areas it would work. So I see this move now with Bitcoin and this impact it's had on the Bitcoin dominance chart as not particularly bad for altcoins, even though a lot of people will look at this chart and remember how savage the impact of this rise was. This was a different version of Bitcoin dominance going up. Bitcoin dominance can go up and alts can go up too. In this instance, that wasn't the case. If it were to continue to go up here, obviously a lot of tokens would suffer as a result when in comparison to their Satoshi value. But I think if we see this rise of Bitcoin dominance this time round, there will be quite a lot of tokens that still rise with Bitcoin and outpace it, but not all, clearly, because Bitcoin will still be dominant, which means that it will be gaining in value at a faster rate than other tokens, but not all. There will be some that are the exception, and I think in this case we can start trading, or we should start to look at some of these altcoins as stocks. All right, so cryptocurrency, you can view it in different ways. I used to trade traditional markets, so I've traded stocks, commodities, and forex. Yeah. Cryptocurrency is all of those in one. Like, it's a stock. Your altcoins are clearly looked upon as stocks, right? So this stock could increase in value, because if it were to be used, or if its value were to be realized in the future, it will be able to impact this sector of the economy, which would mean it would tap into this amount of market cap. You trade that like a stock, right? That's you looking at it and you valuing it at the ground floor before it gains its true value. That's how you trade stocks, right? Commodities like gold, silver, oil, all right? You look at things like Bitcoin, very much like a commodity. You're like, okay, well, this, it's a commodity. People want it. It doesn't technically do anything, but who's ever used a bar of gold in their life? Do you know what I mean? It doesn't do anything. It's a store of value. It's a commodity, right? It gains in value. It's a hedge against inflation. It's a hedge against financial collapse. It's a commodity, right? So you could look at Bitcoin like a commodity. And then when you're looking at the Satoshi charts, essentially what you're doing there, that's forex trading, really. You're basically trading currency to currency. I want a bit of this now. I want to exchange it back to Bitcoin now. I want to get back into altcoins now. And that's forex. So it's all in one, depending on how you go about trading it. So there's no right or wrong way. Traders can look at this and have a field day. If you're a forex trader, you could navigate your way around that kind of vibe. If you're a stock trader and like your fundamental analysis, I think now would be the time to get researching and doing your thing. And as far as commodities are concerned, Bitcoin is the commodity, so you treat it like a commodity and you buy it and sell it at resistance. That's all it is, and you expect it to go up over time and you buy it and sell it at resistance. That's how you trade that, and that's how I would expect this whole thing to play out. And this move now with Bitcoin, I'm loving it for what it is. I mean, like I say, whether you hold it or if you don't hold it, if you're solely in alts or if you hedged it the other day, when Bitcoin dominance came down to this level or not, it doesn't really matter. This is an endorsement of the industry in general. This is what this represents, in my opinion, and because of that endorsement, I think this is the moment, this is the turning point, or beginning of the turning point. Plus, there's going to be so much more money flowing into this market right now. So much more money coming into it. Elon Musk is basically giving it that seal of approval where people think, well, hang on a minute, he's got a good track record, he's a bright guy, he knows what he's doing, and he's bought it up here. Maybe I was wrong, let's go in. And then navigate the minefield of cryptocurrency in general. So that's just my 2 cents on it. Like I say, I'm not on this video. I'm not actually doing any chart analysis. You'll have to join me tomorrow in my live stream. Join the Patreon. We can look at as many charts as you want, and we can go through them together. But today I thought, just to let you know my thoughts on the situation is that it's not the end for altcoins. I think this is actually pretty much just the beginning for altcoins, even if it begins with Bitcoin taking a giant head start with that massive, how far are we up at the moment? Must be about 15% probably by now. 15-16%, yeah. But I mean, if we'll have a look at this, let's have a look at the Bitcoin pairings. I mean, there's still quite a lot of well, not quite a lot, but there's a significant amount of altcoins that are still gaining on Bitcoin at the moment. There's a lot that aren't, but there are a lot that are. So it's not over for altcoins. This is just a shock to the system, and I would imagine actually that Bitcoin dominance does increase a little bit further from here. This is going to be one of those things that takes a little bit of time to kick in. As like I say, if Tesla and Elon Musk have given it that endorsement, then I think other large companies will also follow. But then they won't stop at Bitcoin. It will spread to the rest of the market. I think it's a turning point, and I'm very much grateful for Mr. Musk. Hey, anyway, I'll leave it with you there. Thank you for watching. I hope you have a nice evening and take it easy.